Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of SEPA Paranormal Chronicles. Today, I've got a Canadian who's, if you drive, it's probably about 2 days away, maybe. Is in a place called Saskatchewan. His name's Curtis Riersgard. I knew I'd said it wrong,
No, that's
and
right.
he's from Purgatory Adventures. Curtis, welcome, my friend, and thank you for joining me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to be here.
Good. See, I knew that I was going to get Riersgard wrong because it. So, where is Riersgard from? Is it Canadian or is it from? Did you know where it's from?
I'm from Estevan, Saskatchewan. That's where I'm from.
Okay. What about your last name? Is that Canadian
Oh,
last name or?
I'm not exactly sure, to be honest with you, where it originates from. I have to ask my family. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like I'll be right back.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Just
Yeah.
call 'em.
Okay. So you are the lead with
Yes,
Purgatory
I am the
Adventures.
the creator, the founder, if you will, of Purgatory Adventures, and we've been
Okay. So before we start talking about that,
okay.
just give me a little bit of like information about yourself and how did you first get into the paranormal?
Okay. Well, I got started probably when I was 12 years old. My uncle took me on my very first paranormal investigation to a place in Manitoba called the Criddlevane Homestead. And there was a lot of creepy things that were going on at this place. We had hissing noises and growls and stuff. I even got attacked for the first time. And
Oh wow.
this was my very first ever experience with the paranormal. And that first initial experience sort of opened my mind to that there is something else out here. But the thing that really got me hooked and the thing that almost made me quit before I even started was what happened a year after that investigation when I investigated a place that my friend told me he had some experiences at. And, at the time, he wasn't living there. He was actually living across the street, and he invited me to come and investigate this house that was empty. It had no furniture, there was nothing in there. And the very first day we went into that house, the front door to the house started opening and closing, and we walked up to the door and it stopped dead in its tracks. And that was just our first initial time in there. We spent the night in there and we had things flying across the room. And when you see something fly and there's nothing attached to it, it just makes you want, like, it just I can't even put it into words. It was a crazy experience. And that's what opened my mind. That's what got me hooked on it. But I will tell you, it almost made me quit because it was a really, really scary experience. And I had my first attachment from that place. I had something follow me home and torment me in my house. And that's when it gets serious, is when there's something going on in your house that you can't control. So
I don't know where to go on from there. so, so when you say that you got your attachment and you was on the verge of quitting,
mhm.
at what point did you realize that you'd got an attachment, and then how did you deal with it to the point where you then got rid of it?
Well, I realized I had it when there was stuff going on in my house I couldn't explain. I remember one distinct moment where I heard a man and a woman fighting in my bedroom. And you go into the room and you can hear them like talking, like yelling at each other, but there's nothing there. There's no stereo, there's no TV, there's no neighbors home, there's nobody around, no people in the house, and there's like yelling, and it's so clear. And it was terrifying. And you wake up in the middle of the night and it feels like you got eyes just staring at you. The room is freezing cold. And I know that there was something there, and that's when I pull out the Bible and I start reading from it. And I read it probably every night for probably 3 months straight. I'd wake up and start reading from it. And I would tell it to go away, leave me alone. And, after so long, it finally disappeared of just reading the Bible and just telling it to go away. And yeah, it was a wild experience.
And how old were you when this happened?
Oh, I was probably only 13 or 14 when this happened.
Okay, I are you still that religious as you were then? Are you still that religious now as what you were then?
I
Or
feel like if you're doing this type of work, if you're in the paranormal field, you have to be religious. You have to believe in something to protect yourself from getting these attachments, because there are evil energies that can attach themselves to you. And the only way to get rid of them is to have some sort of religion to defend yourself against that. So,
yeah, because it's really weird because when I was in the UK, because I only moved to Canada when I was in my mid 40s, um, I was the biggest skeptic for the longest time,
mhm.
and even if something happens now, my first train of thought will be, how can I debunk this?
Mhm.
And I think sometimes I've even gone to the point where something happened, but I'm going to debunk it anyway. And I think up a rational explanation that even may not be able to connect to it,
Mhm.
but I'll say, oh, that was a trick of the light, or that was my mind
Yeah.
playing games. But yeah, you are completely right about the fact that there's a lot of people that are religious. I don't class myself as being a religious
Mhm.
person.
I don't classify myself as being a religious person, but when it comes to doing this and having these things follow you home, you tend to pick up a religion
Yeah,
to defend
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah. So did you actually speak to any religious people when this happened, or did you just
No, no, I was
read the Bible?
I just read the Bible. I was really young. Like I was only 13 at the time, and it's like I didn't know who to go to. My parents are non-believers. And so it's like I grew up, actually everyone in my house was a non-believer when this was happening to me. The only people that I could talk to about it was my uncles that got me started in this. And I'd tell my mother about all this stuff that was going on, and she would just be like, "It's all in your head. It's just you." And I'd be like, "No, this is real. This is happening." And she would just, yeah, she just does not believe in it at all.
So how long had your uncle been doing it before he took you out with him?
Oh, years before me, probably before 2009. So yeah, I don't even know really how long he's been doing it, for quite some time. Going to Crittlevain Homestead in Manitoba. That's where he always went, and he had some wild experiences there with possession and everything out there. Front door opening by itself, and he had the Bible, and he threw it on the front doorstep, and it started flipping pages, and it landed on a page that said, "You all shall die." And there was other creepy stuff that went on at that house. So
I, I think I'm living in the wrong province because we don't get that kind of stuff in Ontario. Obviously, we have much more respectable spirits
yeah.
and ghosts in Ontario than what you guys do in
Well,
Saskatchewan.
that's actually Manitoba. Manitoba's got
Oh,
some
okay,
crazy haunts.
okay.
But the thing was about this house, that where all this stuff was happening, there was rituals that went on inside of it, and there was actually a pentagram that was drawn on the floor, and there was rituals and everything that went on in that house. That's what invited the evil energy into the space. So
Okay, so after this happened and you knew that the paranormal was real, what then kind of got you down the road that you're going down now?
that got Purgatory Adventures started. That started my channel.
Yeah.
It was shortly before, well, maybe after I graduated high school in 2020. We were sitting around the fire, and my grandma, we just come back from a paranormal investigation at the cemetery. Me and my uncle were doing, just for fun, right? And my grandma was like, "You guys should film your investigations and show people what happens to you guys on your investigations." And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna do that. That's a horrible idea. I'm not. I don't know how to film any of this or know how to do anything." And then I don't know. I just later on I decided, okay, let's do this. So then I went out. We went to our local cemetery. We shot our first investigation. The video did horrible. It flopped, as you would imagine. But on the second investigation that we did a location called the Back of Our Church here in Saskatchewan. There's a lot of paranormal stuff tied to that church. And we did it, and then the video ended up kind of blowing up in a sense for Saskatchewan terms, right? And then I'm like, okay, so this is possible. We can do something with this. And then we went to all these big class locations here in Saskatchewan, and our videos started doing better and better. And now they're doing really good. And it just that's kind of how we got started. But
So how many people do you have in your team?
there is 5 of us now. We just brought on a brand new member, so there's 5, and I think we're gonna keep it with just 5. I think that's a perfect number.
Yeah, and yeah, we've got 8 in our team, but we started off with a core of 3 of us,
Oh yeah.
and we're all kind of co-leads.
Well,
But go on, sorry.
sorry. No, I was just gonna say we started out with just 2 of us, just me and my uncle doing this, going to all these places, and we realized that as our channel has grown and people are, watching us more, we needed to bring more people on to help us film because there's such large videos to do, and like it takes me over a month to edit just one video. So
Yeah, and that's the thing because yeah, I remember going on my first investigation, and yeah, I did remember to take the lens cap off, but I did not remember to turn the microphone
yep.
on. And it's like, oh my god! Yeah,
Oh,
and I think we've all been there where
yep.
we start recording. It's like it's a bit black. Oh, and you haven't taken the lens cap off, or yeah, and it's like yeah, everyone's a trial and error.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean with regard to how long it can take to edit. Because we've got one guy who's one of our co-leads. He's actually in the industry, so he does all the editing.
Okay.
He's been to university and he knows how to
Okay.
do that. And it takes so long
Yep.
to edit. So how long is the average video for your investigations?
Usually about 30 to 40 minutes per video. That's usually I have probably almost 12 hours of footage, and I condense it down into about a 30 to 40-minute video depending on how much stuff we captured during the investigation.
So how do you like say for example, we was at an investigation Saturday night. There was 5 of us. We have an MVR that's got 6 cameras,
Mm-hmm.
but we always have one person sat at the base station so that if he sees something happening in one of the 6 cameras,
Mm-hmm.
he writes it all down.
Okay.
And then that helps us with the editing because you can go, okay, in this segment,
Mm-hmm.
there was something happened at 9:24
Okay.
or something happened, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So do you do something similar or do you go through your 12 hours in real time and then pick up as you're going along?
Well, we actually have about 5 cameras now. No, 5. Yeah, about 5 cameras that run at the same time, and I have to go through each individual one that has 12 hours of footage on all of them, or on some of them, and it can take. That's why it takes me over a month to edit these videos because I got to go through all of that evidence, and I'm the only one that can do the editing portion. There's nobody that knows how to edit around, like none of my team members know how to edit for YouTube. And it's take like when I started I had zero experience on editing, and just like over the course of 6 years now of doing my channel, I managed to figure it out and get better and just watch YouTube tutorials on how to use Premiere Pro and stuff like that. So
And it and that's the thing because like I say, my buddy Logan, he will take forever, but he's also a perfectionist as well.
yep, I am too.
Where if he doesn't like it, he will keep doing it until he gets it right. But you're right. What you say, it's not something that you can literally click your fingers and somebody else can learn.
Mm-hmm.
It is so time consuming to actually teach somebody how to edit because it's not something you can do in like one night.
Yeah, you can't. You got to be a good storyteller too, and you got to be able to present your story in a way that's going to keep somebody entertained. And it's hard to learn how to do that. Like I'm still not good at storytelling, and that's what videos do, and that's what even with your investigations that you do, they tell a story to somebody. When somebody watches it, it's supposed to tell a story. And you start out with your introduction, and then you move into your and it's all formatted right in a certain way to keep that person entertained, and also show them the paranormal, right? And you can't teach that. It's hard to teach that to somebody and how to do the editing. So
That's it. And even if you've got somebody new looking at the some of the cameras, they're still not going to know what to look for.
exactly, that too. Yes.
Yeah. So let's go into some of your locations that you've been.
Okay.
And the first one that comes straight up is the Duck Lake Museum.
Okay, yeah, that one's that one went super crazy viral on my YouTube channel. I don't even know what happened with that one. I uploaded it. It sat about 300 views for 6-7 months, and then I opened my YouTube one day, and it's like, holy, it's 3,000 now, and then now I think it's over 8,000 views now, and it's
That's crazy.
which is one of our most popular videos. I don't even know how it happened, but yeah, that investigation was awesome. I like that one. We didn't really catch a whole like as much as I would want to on that one. Like I know we had some SLS camera activity. Yeah, that's all I can really remember. I'm having problems remembering that because I haven't watched that video in so long. I don't like watching my own, because especially the older ones, because they make me kind of like they make me cringe at it, right? Because
Hey, hey, I'm doing a podcast. And this is my second season. Going back to some of the first few that
yeah.
I did, and it's like, oh my god, you were such a
Yep.
rookie.
But that is part of the YouTube journey, is putting out content, and then you go back and look at your old stuff. And if you don't cringe at it, if you feel like this is amazing, then you're not growing on YouTube. So
Exactly, you're not
you're not
learning. Yeah,
learning
yeah,
anything. Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. So, okay then. So I've got your channel in front of me, and obviously there's a lot. Do you have any favorite locations that you've been to?
Ooh, where do I begin?
See, that's always a really bad question to ask a paranormal investigator.
Yeah, there's so many I could talk about. I know one thing your viewers will want to know is, what is the most haunted location we have ever been to? That is a question I get all the time. So I'll just start with our most haunted then, and that would be
Yep.
our Weyburn Barn. The Weyburn, yeah, the Weyburn Barn, basically. So what it was, for those of you that don't know, it was once a part. So in Weyburn, there was a massive mental hospital there, and the barn is one of the last remaining remnants of that hospital. And if you think that a barn isn't haunted, you are wrong. It was probably one of the scariest locations we've ever been to for our YouTube channel. About a week before we were about to investigate, we show up at the location, and a week before we were there, somebody tried committing suicide from one of the rafters in the building.
Wow.
Somebody found the woman in there with the rope ready to jump from the rafters, and that was sort of our introductory to that location. And we went there. I like the investigation portion was insane. We had rocks getting thrown at us. I think one of the craziest things though of the night is we left our cameras run inside the building. We went outside and we're taking a break, and we caught a scream come through the camera, and it said murder, like really loud, really creepy. And later on, like a week after I put out the video or whatever, we put two and two together that we had a psychic medium come through at the beginning of that investigation, and she can sense, she can pick up on the energies and stuff there. And she picked up on somebody that got murdered in that building, someone that got shot and killed in there. And then, later on the investigation, we catch the word murder come through loud, clear, like a scream. So yeah, that was one of the things. There was so much going on in there. My one investigator, he was brand new at the time. We brought him in, and he was ready to go home. He was like, "I'm done. This place is too bad." And then after the investigation, we had weird, strange things happen to all of us. First off, My relationship with almost everybody that was involved with that investigation, our relationships kind of crumbled and fell apart a little bit. Some people I don't even talk to anymore from that one. My uncle, our relationship crumbled. He actually ended up quitting the team after that investigation. The new investigator has had card problems, women problems, everything. It was just all this weird stuff started happening after this particular investigation, and it was just a lot. That one was one of our worst ones we've ever been to. And of course, like, if people want to see all the activity that we captured, because there was much more than what I'm telling you that happened there, they can go check out the video.
So, apart from the fact that somebody got murdered there,
hmm
is there any other history with that building that of what you know of?
No, there's not much that I could find on it, just from what our psychic medium told us and stuff, and just from it being part of the mental hospital and stuff like that. And there's nothing much I could find. And even the murder is not, it's not guaranteed. It's not documented. It's just what she
Right.
picked up. So
Okay, so you've mentioned that one.
mhm.
You say that there's so many more to mention. You've obviously got more than one favorite.
Yes.
So give me another one.
Okay. Another one. Let me just think about that for a minute. Because
Okay.
there's like
Okay.
there's like four I could tell you that are my favorite. I'm probably gonna have to say the Moosehead Inn. That one
Okay.
will have to be a favorite because I've always wanted to investigate that building. Even when I was a little kid and I went in there and I found out it was haunted, I wanted to investigate it when I first started out. And I'm like, there's no way I'll ever get into this building. And then sure enough, years ago now, we investigated it. And the crazy thing is a week after I published my video on that building, it burned to the ground and there was nothing left of
Wow.
the building. And I am so happy every day that I got to investigate it before it was gone. And I fulfilled my childhood dream, because I don't know what would have happened if I never got to. I would have been so sad.
So that's actually quite funny because I was about to say, is it still operational as an inn? But you've told me that it burned down, so
Yeah.
I'm guessing not. So
It's
what kind of
actually,
activity?
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So what kind of activity did you get there?
We we captured, we had the owner come by, and he was sitting in the room. There was three of us there, and we had our spirit box on the table and it was running. And earlier in the investigation, we captured a light turn on by itself, and we had our spirit box going. We asked who turned on the light from earlier, and we had a voice come through and said Archibald. Now, Archibald Granison was the person that owned and operated that place for a long time, and we had the current owner there with us, Dale, and he's like, "Whoa, that just said Archibald." And we're like, "Wait, that did say Archibald." And it was the clearest voice I've ever captured come through that box. And that's still one of my favorite pieces of evidence that we captured, was that voice. And it's such a unique name, Archibald, to come through
Yeah.
and say it like there, and there was no denying that's what it was.
Yeah. So as a team, are you a team that uses a lot of the let's go there, the toys and gadgets, or are you quite strict in what you use when you do an investigation?
We're not strict. We use whatever we can afford.
Sure.
Equipment is very expensive. Paranormal equipment can be extremely expensive, and we're nonprofit. We make no money from this. We do this all out of our own pockets, so we just use whatever we can afford. And my favorite piece of equipment is the spirit box. We also have like K2 meters and different EMF meters, EVP recorder. I think one of the most unique pieces of equipment that we have is I call it the stick, but basically what it is it's a live EVP recorder. So basically what it is we taped a recorder to the end of a long stick, and we put on headphones and we can actually listen to the digital recorder live. And I've captured some creepy stuff come through that. I had I was walking in a building. This is not for the channel or anything, but this was just like a private one that we were doing off camera. And I was walking in a building and I heard someone say "hey" through it. I went "hey," and I was like, "Whoa!" Someone just said "hey" through this thing, and we reviewed the recorder, and sure enough,
Yeah, because it's like because we have like with a scientific investigation of paranormal activity,
Mhm.
and we have scientific in the name. One thing that we kind of insist on is like baseline observations. So yeah, I'm not a fan of the K2, but I do have a tri-field.
Okay.
Simply because it's much more of an accurate device.
Mhm.
Plus, it's actually used in construction,
Okay.
like radio masts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do love that. And yeah, we even have like black mold detectors. We have radiation detectors.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
we even have like the detectors for for checking stud walls
Yeah.
in walls. So we always try to rule out the natural
Yeah.
before we look at the supernatural.
Okay.
And yeah, and I'm a firm believer in let's not go to a location and you see and you sense that there's a lot of activity just to find out that it's got really old wiring
Yeah.
and yet EMF readers going off the charts.
Yeah. Well,
So I'm always like a firm believer in
yeah.
okay, let's roll out all the obvious first, and then that saves a lot of work in the long run.
Sorry, just going back to your EMF meter going off. We always try to look for specific responses. Like, for instance, we used our K2 meter at a place called the Heritage Village in Weyburn, and there was a gentleman that passed away in the living room, and we asked, "Are you here with us?" And we had the lights. I mean, we said, "If you're here with us, can you set the lights off?" And the lights went up and then stopped, right? And we look for reactions to our questions that come through. Can you make it blink twice? And then
Yeah,
we see it go twice, and then if we ask a question and there's no response at all, like there's no lights at all, then how do you explain that, right? You're not
yeah,
moving, you're
and
staying in the same spot.
yeah, and you're absolutely right. Yeah, we do have K2s,
Mhm.
but we do use them for that kind of like experiment.
Yeah.
But for doing my baseline observations,
Oh yeah.
because you've got like a needle
Mhm.
and it saves and it records the numbers. Yeah, I do prefer to that because
Yeah.
we went to a location a couple of years ago, and the owner was going, "Oh, if you sit at this table, like people have a lot of activity
Mhm.
with their devices." So I've got the tri-field on the table, and it's quite active.
Mhm.
I'm thinking, hang on a minute, something wrong here. So we was on the third floor of a, a old house.
Mhm.
So I said, "What's below?" And she went, "Oh, it's an identical apartment to the one that you're in."
Hmm.
Okay. So as soon as she left, I put the tri-field on the floor, and it went even more crazy.
Oh yeah. See, that's how you rule
So
out the difference between paranormal and electrical.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she was saying that there was some activity in the lounge. So again, I went around with the tri-field.
Mhm.
And but she said, "Oh, this one sofa, you get a lot of activity with your equipment." Put the tri-field on the wall, and again, it was going crazy. So I walked around into the kitchen, big power box
Yep.
on the wall. So yeah, it's stuff like that that we can rule out. And if we draw a map of a location,
Mhm.
we can basically put a cross in that area.
Yeah.
Don't trust anything there. Don't
Yep.
trust yeah. So yeah, it it makes it easier for us to investigate
Mhm.
if we know what areas playing up. And we actually had an electric fan. This location didn't have any air conditioning, and just by unplugging and plugging in the electric fan, it was quite a big one. It was setting the REM pod off.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because we did it the first time, and I thought, hang on a minute, the REM pod went off.
Mhm.
Plug it back in again.
Yeah.
So he did. REM pod went off, and we did that like 6 or 7
Yeah.
times. And every time we did it, and it's like because of that surge of power,
Yeah.
it was causing the REM pod to go off.
Another thing with the REM pod actually is walkie talkies set them off
Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah, when I started doing the YouTube channel, I didn't know that, and we were using walkie talkies, and we're like, "Whoa, the REM pod's going off and stuff like that. That's so cool." And then we soon figured out that it was our walkies that was setting it off. So
That's it. And you've got to be able to admit that modern technology can set these
yeah,
devices off. Because yes, in my, but you can't see it, but I've got like cases and cases here.
hmm
Yes, I have walkie-talkies, but we don't use them in an investigation because we know that it can set off
yeah,
pieces of equipment. Before we start, all
Mm.
our cell phones will go to airplane
Yep.
mode for exactly the same
Yep.
reason. But you get quite a few of these TV shows where you see them talking on the walkie-talkies
and
all
the
the
REM
time, and
pod's
just like,
going off, and you're just shaking
that's
your
it.
head. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, please stop. No, just don't do that.
yeah.
So, what kind of other equipment do you have? Because, like I say, we have a lot of stuff that you can use in construction
Yeah.
because you have to rule out the natural.
Yeah.
But then we do have our own gadgets. We've got like REM pods and K2s and the bears and stuff like that. So
I'm going to be honest, we don't have a lot of paranormal equipment at the moment. We're trying to get more. We actually have a guy on our team that builds our equipment and stuff like that, builds them from scratch. And he's currently working on some REM pods and some other stuff for us. So he builds a lot of them for us, mainly because it's cheaper to have him build it. To get the parts and put it together yourself is a lot cheaper than going out and buying it that's already built. Like, it's just the price difference is crazy. But sometimes there's glitches with his equipment, right? So
yeah, because I actually teach an equipment course. There's a company that are based on the East Coast, and they do quite a few different paranormal courses like ghosts and spirits, poltergeist, demonology, and they asked me to do an equipment course. So I actually tell people, yeah, this works. However, you have to be careful of A, B, C, and D.
yeah,
And I kind of go through cameras and audios on the first week. The second week, I go through the construction / scientific equipment.
yeah.
The third week, I go through all the gadgets with the bells and whistles, your REM pod, your KD, all those kind of stuff. And then the fourth week, I go into the old school of Ouija boards, pendulums, dowsing rods, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm really honest with people. It's like, yeah, this is good for being a door wedge, but it's not very good for. But you mentioned about the equipment and it being expensive. If you see stuff that has the word ghost or spirit in the title, you can guarantee that it's going to be more expensive than something that does not.
The Ovulus, though, that's the one I want. That one doesn't have that in it, and it's like almost $1,000 for one. So
yeah, we've got an Ovulus 5. I've wanted an Ovulus 3 for forever and ever, but they're about as extinct as unicorns. Yeah, like, and I don't think you can even buy them anymore, and people don't want to get rid of them.
Yeah,
but they were such an adaptable device that it could be used for many different scenarios.
Yes.
It was great.
I love them. I've always wanted one. I keep looking on. There's a website where you can get paranormal equipment from called Ghost Stop, and I always look on there, and I'm just like drooling over all the equipment I want to buy. Some of it's like almost $1,000 or almost there to $1,000, and it's just like I can't do that.
Yeah, so. I'm quite lucky to have a generous wife, and she'll go, "You haven't got one of these here."
Wow.
Yeah, and she's ignoring me now, but yeah, and she's waving. But my next, I do fancy either an XLS or an SLS, but obviously we can't really get them in Canada. We can get them in the US, but I want to see one. I want to have one, and then I want to put it to the test to see what its limitations are.
I
And yeah,
I actually have one. Would your viewers be interested in seeing it?
sure.
If you give me a
Is
minute,
it,
I can show it, and I actually have it. It's sitting in my room there.
okay, let me put this on pause, and
Okay,
I'll. Okay,
sure. Maybe
and we're back.
turn on a light. So this is mine. It's
So
homemade.
can you describe exactly what you've got attached to it and
Yeah,
how it works
yeah, sure.
for the people?
So this part here is an Xbox 360 Kinect camera, and it connects into a Windows tablet. It has to be a Windows tablet, and you just plug everything in, and it projects out. So this part here projects out a laser grid, and anything that walks into it will project it as a humanoid figure. We've used this on a few investigations, and we've had some great luck with it. Actually, we had at the one place, we had something touch my hand, and we seen it on the camera, and we watched it reach out and touch my hand, and at the same time on the camera that it touched my hand, I felt it, and we had a spirit wave to us. We asked it if can you wave, and on the camera, it started waving to us. So
Yeah. And one thing that I do find funny, I just for shits and giggles and no other reason, I have an app on my phone that is supposed to be like an SLS.
oh yes.
And we live in an apartment block, and I took the recycling down, and on the door, it's in the underground garage, and it has a little disc on the door that says "Open slowly,
Mhm.
moving vehicles" because you're going back out into the garage.
Yeah.
And there was an electrical fault with the door, and the door was trying to open against the mechanism. So I just for a giggle, I kind of got the app and opened it, and sure enough, I could see a stick figure,
Yeah.
and I started laughing to myself because the app on the phone, which I'm not a fan of apps, but I just
I'm
have
not a
it just
fan
for
either. Yeah.
yeah. It picked the disc the disc of the sticker up,
Hmm.
treated it as a head, and then created the stick figure to as the rest of the body. So I thought, oh great, I've actually got a stick figure in the recycling room of our apartment block. But it wasn't. It was just picking up this
Yeah.
disc, this sticker.
That's why, yeah. So the problem with those is it picks up humanoid figures. So anything that's in the shape of a person, it'll put
Yeah,
out. But what you're looking for is if you ask it to do something for you and it like starts waving like it did for us, or if you put out your hand and ask it to touch your hand and it actually reaches out and touches your hand, that's what you're looking for with it. You're not looking for just random figures, whatever, because it'll do
no,
that. It'll
that's
just put out a random figure.
that's right. And if you've got like a coat rack or yeah, a mop and bucket,
Yeah.
it's going to try to put it into a humanoid figure,
Yeah.
but you've got to have that amount of common sense to go, hang on, I've got a coat rack in front of
Yep.
me. It's trying to pick it up.
Hmm.
So you mentioned about like being touched, and just before Christmas, I felt like I had my hand held
Hmm.
at a location. But what I always tell people, and what some people go, oh well, it doesn't happen. If you have something like that happen to you, it's all a personal experience.
Yeah.
I can't call you a liar
Hmm.
because it didn't happen to me, it happened to you.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to explain to so many people. It's like, yeah, it happened to me.
Hmm.
Just because it didn't happen to you doesn't mean that I'm lying. It just means that you didn't experience the same thing that I did.
Yeah.
So when you said that you got touched, what kind of happened on that occasion?
Well, we were using our SLS camera, and we were walking around with it at we were at a location called the Alameda District Museum, and we were walking around with it, and we seen a figure pop up on the camera. We asked it, "Can you wave to us?" It waved, right? And then I stuck out my hand and I'm like, "Can you reach for my hand? Can you grab my hand?" And just as I did that, we seen the hand come out, or the stick figure come out, and actually it touched my hand. And when it did that, I felt it. I felt like a little, It was a little touch like that. And it was the coolest thing I've ever captured. And it proved to me that this device, it is accurate. It's actually, it's a valid tool. So,
So you say that you built that from scratch,
yes,
and these things are not cheap at the best of times.
yes.
So did you already have any of the pieces of equipment to build, or did you actually just buy everything
I had to buy
separately?
everything separately. There's a little bit of wiring. I actually watched a YouTube video on how to do it, on how to build one. And this device probably costed me about $100 to do.
Oh wow!
The most expensive part, I already had the Kinect camera, so that wasn't a problem. But if you don't have the Kinect camera, then it might be a little more. But just for like all the components and stuff, it was really cheap. It was cheaper than buying an actual one.
What about for the actual program itself for the tablet?
It has to be a Windows 10 tablet. It has to be a Windows tablet. That is a must. It it's a there's a few programs you have to download. I can't remember exactly what the programs are, but it's a Kinect program, and then there's another program that talks to the Kinect camera that tells it to put it on the tablet. And then basically how I record it is I have a handlebar mount for a GoPro, and it just shoots the screen. But the program, I can't remember exactly what the program is. I know it's a Kinect software, but there's multiple different softwares you have to get it to run on the tablet. And the video that I watch will tell you how to do that. It'll go step by step on how to build this and how to install the programs and everything. So
Oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to look into that. If that's a cheaper option, then I think it's definitely a route to go down
yes.
because I think the six to 800 US.
Oh,
The last time I looked, a little bit extortionate to say the
no,
least.
just a little bit of electrical work, and that's all you got to do to because you got to wire the power pack to the Kinect camera. So you got to do some wire stripping and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but this person, I used to fix bodies. Like I don't do DIY. I don't do gardening. I don't do electrical.
but
So
this is a cheaper option, and I actually recommend, because I've always wanted an S-Less camera, but I couldn't afford the $800. But this is a
yeah.
cheap alternative. Oh, and the tablet will be expensive too. You got to find a Windows 10 tablet. That could run you up some money. So,
Well, I do have an iPad already,
iPad will not
but
work. It has to be Windows 10. It has to have
interesting.
Windows on it. iPad will not work. Chromebook will not work. It has to be a specific one, right? Because this is a Microsoft device, right?
Right, okay,
This is Microsoft, so it can only talk to a Microsoft operating system like Windows. So
okay. You've just upset me, so you can go now. So, one thing that I find, especially in Ontario, it's really difficult to get into some locations because they're city owned,
mhm.
yeah, and such like. So, how easy or difficult is it to get to these locations in Saskatchewan?
Depending on where it is, if it's a provincially owned location, it's almost next to impossible to get into. If it's we find that larger cities are way more difficult to get into because it's just hard finding the right person. If it's in a smaller town, it's easy. It's so easy to get into. You call up the town office and you ask, "Hey, who owns this property?" And sometimes they will give you an email or a name or something, and then you just kind of go from there. Or they'll tell you, "Sorry, I can't give you any information," and then that's it, right? You just move on and you try to figure out who owns it and stuff like that. It's a little bit of like detective work you got to do to try and get into some of these places, but
Oh yeah, and that's yeah, it's kind of part of the fun,
yeah,
but it's also the frustrating part of
it
it as
can be,
well.
yeah, especially when people don't understand what you're doing. Like, there's a lot of people here in Saskatchewan that don't quite understand what it is we want to do and stuff, and they're a little bit hesitant to let us in, and that's kind of the problem that we run into.
Yeah. we're actually quite lucky because, like I said earlier, that I'm on the Comic Con network. We actually have a booth at one of our Comic Cons,
Mm-hmm.
so that gives us like a profile. Yeah, people see us out there. So if we do approach them, oh yeah, use at the Comic Con kind of thing. So that kind of helps us a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's because you've got a lot of city buildings here,
yeah,
especially being in the National Capital Region. Yeah, so it is like I say, it's nigh on impossible to get into some of them.
yeah. There's been a few locations where we had to pay money to get in. There was some that we had to turn down because the one location wanted $5,000 to spend a night there, and the
Holy
staff
shit!
was not allowed to participate at all. And I had to turn that down because I can't do $5,000 for one night. So
That is ridiculous
that
amount of
is,
money.
yes, that is a
Yeah,
ridiculous amount of money.
yeah. I think the most we've spent is probably 150 each. Yeah, depending on how
Oh yeah,
many of us go.
you,
But even then, it still gets expensive.
it does. The most expensive one was, oh, there's been a few. I think the one was $300, or no, it was like $600. I think for a night. But me and another investigator, we split the cost, so it was about 300 and some a piece or
Yeah.
whatever. So
So, how far away are you from the US border?
I'm about maybe 20 minutes from the
Okay.
US border.
And have you ever managed to do any investigations over the border?
No, 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 I have not been able to.
Yeah. We went to a location in New York State last summer, and it was a really oldie worldy building, which was like really beautiful
Yeah.
building. It's a restaurant hotel, and we rented the two most haunted bedrooms. There was three of us that went, and they had four poster beds. And on the second night we was there, it's got blankets on rather than duvets. I just got into bed like 2 o'clock in the morning. I moved. I felt the blankets settle,
Oh yeah.
and then I felt a really heavy sensation of somebody sitting on the bed. Thinking it was one of the other guys, I opened my eyes and as I saw this white apparition go past.
Oh wow.
And of course, I had no cameras on at that time
Of
because we'd
course.
just called it a
Yep,
night.
that's usually how it goes. It's like they know when they're
Yeah,
going to record.
that's it. And it's yeah, that kind of taught us to as soon as we arrive at a location, at least one person needs to have a camera
Yep.
going from the get go.
Yep. I actually tell when we get to a location, I always tell my investigators, do not interact with the spirits at all yet because we don't have a camera running, right? So no asking it to do something, no, pulling out EMF meters or equipment. We just keep it away because we don't want anything to happen yet. And then once we get time to start our investigation, we always have a couple cameras that will run literally from the time we start our investigation till the time we leave the next day. So there's probably about like 10 hours of footage on each of those cameras. So
Yeah, because we all have personal cameras, and it's like say five of us. Plus we have six NVR cameras. Plus we have another 3 to 4 standalone cameras,
mhm.
and that's a lot of footage to go through.
Yes.
And people that don't know, because you've got the ghost hunters and you've got the paranormal investigators.
Mhm.
The ghost hunters don't really care about all this unless they see it right in front of them.
Yeah.
Whereas the paranormal investigators will sit through all this footage in real time. And it, like you said earlier, it takes months
Take
to
months.
actually go through it all.
Yep. And it also takes me a little longer to do it because I have a full-time job, so, and a girlfriend that I have to, see and stuff. And it can be difficult to go through all that with all the life stuff on top of that. So,
Yeah, I always tell people that my full time job gets in the way of my paranormal
mhm.
investigating and my
It,
podcasting.
it does, yeah. For me
Yeah.
too.
So, what's next on the agenda for Purgatory Adventures?
Well, actually, we just finished up a investigation at the Hopkins Dining Parlor. It was our return. We haven't been there in probably 3 years, and that's what I'm currently working on right now. In the case of our next location, I don't know where we're going quite yet. We got a lot in the works that are just waiting to get confirmed, or we're waiting for summer to come around so we can get into the location because we can't get in there because of the cold, right? So we're kind of just waiting. I can't say where yet because it's unconfirmed yet, but we got lots in the works, and Hopkins Dining Parlor will be the next video on the channel.
Cool. So, unfortunately, we are coming towards the end. So, now's your 5 minutes of fame. Tell us about all your social media platforms and where people can find you.
Well, we have a Facebook group, Purgatory Adventures. We got 1.1K people on there. We got our YouTube channel, of course, and we got we're almost at 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. Our goal is to get to 2K. I'm excited to hit it. I never thought I would get that far with it, but yeah, and I think that's all my social media that I want to promote. So.
Awesome. So, Curtis, it's been an absolute pleasure. See, it wasn't terrorizing for you. It wasn't an interrogation,
No, no.
but I'm glad that my wife found your Facebook page because
Yeah.
she was the one that suggested I reach out to you. One question before we go, though.
Yeah.
In the US, you get a lot of Bigfoot, Mothman, Dogman,
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Is there any kind of decent cryptid stories from Saskatchewan that you can
Yes.
tell us before you go?
Yes, there is actually. In Roch Percy, not too far from where I live, there's something called a ruggaroo. And it's a mythical creature that's supposed to be down there of basically when the settlers came over to Canada, uh coyotes come out of the mines and they mated with the settlers and created these like inbred creatures. Apparently they're supposed to roam. I don't know how accurate the story is, but they say if you hear like chains rattling, it's supposed to be the ruggaroos coming. But yeah, there's a whole thing on it, but that's our cryptid, I guess, here, or whatever you want to call it here in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, because we have Wendigos, like apparently just outside of
Oh,
town. But
okay.
yeah. Anyway, Curtis, as I said, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. And for now, my friend, I wish you a great evening because you're 2 hours behind me.
Yep.
And hopefully, we'll stay in touch and maybe we can get you back on
Yeah,
again.
that'd be cool. I'd be happy to come back. This was awesome.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, my friend. You take care.
Yes, you too.
Goodbye.